Welcome back. Well, we are about to embark on our second year with Sumi. Audie the photobomb kitty is wandering around here. He's been jumping from one window to another because he saw a bunny outside and he's just jumped into a box. Go figure. But he saw himself a bunny and it's just one window to another window. So I'm keeping him indoors. I just assume he not have bunny for dinner. I thought one of the things we could do is just talk about where we would like to see the channel go. Are we happy where it is? Would we like to see it branch into some other areas? So when we come back, we'll discuss it. Well, first things first, most of us are free from lockdown now. There are only 3 states that are still on lockdown, according to the last information I saw, and that was Illinois, New Jersey, and Delaware, with Illinois and Delaware releasing later this week, New Jersey about a week behind. Most of the states are letting up a little. And this is good because, as you know, when this started, I made a commitment that I would be here with you until it was over. Well, it looks like it's over, but not quite. It's a little over. So, still staying, but not 7 days a week. Because to be perfectly honest with you, I need a day off desperately. That grass is not going to cut itself. So, I thought that what I would start doing beginning this week is do videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, the 2 weekend days. That will give me Tuesday and Thursday off. Tuesday and Thursday is probably going to be enough time to actually cut my grass, do my dishes, etc., and just get into the things that sort of need to be done around here too. I'm not going back to just 3 days a week, not yet anyway. Not all of us are free from lockdown. Even when the government is going to say, yes, you can go, a lot of us are not going to be able to do that. A lot of us are going to make the choice to shelter in place and self-isolate because not all of us are in optimal health. And that's just a fact. I know what the demographic of this YouTube channel is, and it is women who are over 50, and that all by itself tells you that there is a likelihood of medical compromise, obviously age-related issues. So no, nobody is walking away from this. I'm certainly not. We're still going to stay. But we're going to back away a little. So, but as I say, it doesn't mean I am abandoning you. I'm just going to take a couple of days, pull back a little, try to get it into a little more focus. So, and besides, you're probably very, very sick of seeing me every morning, so this will be a break for you too. I thought we would talk today about where we would like to see the channel go. What we have focused on for the last year has been largely thrifting vintage and antique items, mostly small decorative items, and largely with a focus on selling and then on eBay or Etsy, making a little money. And that meets needs for a lot of people, but it is not meeting the needs for everyone. A lot of people are watching this channel thinking, I am never going to sell on eBay or Etsy. I like looking at people going thrifting, but that's not what my focus is going to be. Some of us just want to go out and, get a good deal on a nice vintage or antique coffee table, or, a chair for the guest room. Maybe learn how to shop for vintage fabrics. So I think we should take a look at expanding some of those areas a little, the shopping for ourselves rather than necessarily shopping for retail. And perhaps we should also take a look at other things. We've done a lot of projects that have involved porcelain and lamps, and those items we're hoping to resell, but maybe we should look at projects that are designed for the items we're going to renovate to keep for ourselves. Let me give you an example. We can look at little tabletop fairy gardens, just as an example. Heaven knows I have the little porcelain dishes to set up little fairy gardens. We can take a look at that. What do you do when you have a few extra teacups? You can turn it into a little terrarium. And when I say little, I mean little terrarium, something small and tiny that can live on your end table, something that you can give as a gift. Maybe we should look at the crafts a little more. Someone had recently asked me if I was going to start doing sewing projects. And the fact is, I can sew. That is something I can do. And when I say I can sew, I have made wedding dresses, I have made men's suits. So I can sew. My specialty is not the ultra fancy, la-la projects like that. It's taking those ultra fancy la-la projects and redesigning the patterns with modern techniques so that I could teach a 12-year-old child who's never sat in front of a sewing machine before to make a 1950s pleated skirt, for example. There are ways to do that. And I have to admit that this is an aside. I will go on YouTube and I will watch some of these historical sewers, and I think to myself, why are they doing it like that? I mean, yeah, they're saying this is how one did it historically. I'm not sure that's true, because there are much, much easier ways to do it. And I refuse to believe that our grandmothers didn't figure it out. Trust me, I'm not the first one. I'm not inventing these ways. It's just the common sense of how you can put things together in much, much easier ways. Maybe we should look at sewing for around the house. Maybe we should look at, you want to know how to make pinch pleated draperies? That's not hard. Do you want to know how to make cafe curtains for the kitchen? Take a little piece of lace, turn it into something interesting. Sure. And this is where I need you to let me know what you want. Is that something that's interesting to you? Maybe some of you have sewing machines that are in the back of a closet. You haven't pulled it out. Maybe some of you would like a pair of curtains, but you don't have a sewing machine. You'd like some simple projects you can do with a needle and thread while you're watching television. Plenty of those. Maybe there are other kinds of projects. Maybe you would like to take a project start to finish, go out to an antique store, dig out an interesting trunk, take a look at how we're going to get the best trunk at the best price, drag it home, refinish it, throw it in the living room, and voila, coffee table. Because that would be a multi-phase project. Perhaps there are completely different things you're looking at. Again, I'm looking at talking to people my own age, my peers. Do you want to start looking at lists of questions you ought to be bringing into your doctor's office with you? Do you want to look at lists of government benefits that are available? And do keep in mind that I don't teach anything. Teaching is teaching. Doesn't matter what it is. And I've worn a lot of hats in the past, and I can pull any random one of them out of my back pocket and stick it on my head again. We can take a look at all kinds of things. But I want to make sure that we are moving the channel in the direction that you want. Would you like to come to my physical therapist's office with me? Would you like to take a tour of the med gym? That's a gym that's associated with my physical therapist's office that isn't quite like Gold's gym where you're just, like lifting weights and whatnot. It's where you're getting back into shape and improving your flexibility and your mobility so that, you can stay vital longer. We can take a tour of that. There are all kinds of things we can do. And so what I need from you is the feedback. What do you want? One of the things I want to add is I want to go out shopping a little more. We started to do that before lockdown, if you'll recall, because I really enjoyed that. We would go to Bedford Antiques, which is one of my favorites, and it's an antique shop where, as you know, I was getting thrift store prices. And the thing I love about it is it's one of those places where you kind of roll up your sleeves and you crawl through the piled up junk and, pick things off the tops of shelves or dig them out of the backs of cabinets, which for me is a tremendous amount of fun. And that's where we can find all kinds of wonderful, interesting, forgotten pieces that we can just drag out and say, hey, let's talk about this, and get an interesting discussion going. So that's one of the things I would like to continue doing. Also, things like I say, little fairy gardens or things that will allow us to use our thrift store finds in our own homes. Because it's all well and good to have a china closet full of pretty little teacups, but if it's just sitting on a shelf, all you're doing is dusting it. Let's haul the stuff out and use it a little. Let's lay it out on the coffee table. Let's do something with it. Try to find uses for these things. So, this is what my charge is for all of you. Let me know what you would like. Where do you want this to move to? I've been saying for a very long time, I want you to feel this is your channel, your place. This needs to be a safe, comfortable, happy, accepting place for all of us. This needs to be where we go, where we have our coffee in the morning, where we can reach out when things are going wrong. And by the way, nothing heartens me more than seeing that. Sometimes I'm starting to cry when I think about it. Sometimes it's hard because people will write in, and someone wrote in yesterday and said that their brother is home on hospice. Well, that's hard, but it's wonderful that someone would feel comfortable enough to bring that into our community, feel safe enough to bring that into our community, because I know there are a lot of places on YouTube where no one would dare put that much of themselves out there because you just don't know what kind of horrific things people will say. And it so pleases me that we can do this. So once again, this is ours. It's mine. It's yours. And I want you to start exercising control. Let me hear your voice. Let's see where we're going to go with this. Some ideas I have had tossed out to me. Again, sewing projects, maintaining copper. Someone saw the copper pans on my stove and said, can you do something about that? Maintaining copper. Maybe that's something people would like. How to do windows, curtains, how to deal with this and decorate with curtains. By the way, as it happens, I know a woman who had a business. She's retired now. She had a drapery making business. This is someone we can actually, bring in. We can take a look at some of the incredible stuff that she's made and get pointers from her. We have resources. So give me your thoughts and let's see where we're going. I want you to feel like you're driving this bus too, not just me. All right, let's take a look at our word origins. See, I have to put myself in a better frame of mind because I'm still sort of obsessing on somebody's brothers in hospice. Okay, word stories of the boudoir and the men's dressing room. I don't know. This could be sex. I actually haven't read this before. Ambergris, gray in color. This secretion of the sperm whale that is found floating in the sea has always been sought after because of its great value in the manufacture of perfume. The French called it amber after the Arabic word anbar, but they later gave the same name of amber to a fossilized resin that is often found on the seashore, which is used in the manufacture of jewelry and ornaments in general. This all led to confusion, and the French finally called the one ambergris, and the other amber jaune. So it's gray amber and yellow amber. Ambergris, the perfume ingredient, became ambergris as one word in English, while the resin is simply called amber. Amethyst, favorite of the drunks. This should be good. Like us moderns, the ancients had many pet preventatives and cures. Wearing a wreath of myrtle leaves would keep the fumes of wine from the head. Cabbage for breakfast would banish a hangover, but they regarded a purple or bluish-violet gem as the best charm against drunkenness, and so the Greeks named this stone amethysto, from a meaning not, and methisto meaning drunk, hence our word amethyst. They were kind of idiots when you stop and think about it. Attire. A powdering the face. We are told in the Bible, 2 Kings, if you like, the 9th chapter, 30th verse, it's an odd way to put it, that Jezebel, quote, starched her face and tired her heed and looked out at a window. Okay. This is from a 1539 version of the sacred book. Jezebel was really putting a white powder on her face and was fixing her hair up with an ornament or headdress, for that is what tire meant at the time. The word tire is a shortened form of attire, which comes from the Old French attire, to put in order, derived from a, meaning two, and tire, meaning row, which incidentally gave us our word tier, that row of boxes in the opera house, and many other words. It's not just limited to the opera house. Of course, from dressing the hair, the sense of attire has widened to dress in general. Well, that was a strange and confusing explanation of attire. Belladonna, beautiful lady. Oh, that's just straight up. Way back in the Renaissance days of the evil Borgias of Italy, when political purges were accomplished by poisoned rings and with foods and wines that were drugged with fatal doses. Oh, and the Borgias were big into swords and knives, too. Let's not forget that. The lovely dark-eyed ladies found a pleasant use for belladonna, the extract of the deadly nightshade. They discovered that a drop of this substance in each eye would expand the pupils and give them an expression of languorous beauty. And that seemed to be the reason for the name belladonna, which in Italian means fair lady. Another little bit of trivia about belladonna. They say that a very common hallucination of belladonna poisoning is visions of spiders. So I don't go anywhere near this stuff because I am not fond of spiders. And I have absolutely no idea why that would be a common hallucination for this drug, but that is in fact what they allege. Caracule, black-eared. This fur that goes into women's coats is a corruption of the Turkish kara and kulak, from kara, black, and kulak, ear. This was a natural nickname for the pelt since it comes from a Persian lynx, somewhat larger than a fox, which has a reddish-brown coat and long, upright black ears tipped with black hair. All right, we'll do one more, and then we'll call it quits for a while. Cardigan, a man's name. Women know cardigan as a warm jacket of knitted wool. The name for this article of wearing apparel came from James Thomas Brudenell, 7th Earl of Cardigan. This cantankerous and overbearing chap bought his grades to a generalship in the British Army, but while still major, he led the famous charge of the Light Brigade in the Crimean War. It was Brudenell who wore and popularized this worsted jacket, now called a cardigan, and this seemingly unimportant event probably gave him more secure immortality than did the poem of Tennyson that celebrated the charge of the famous 600 who plunged into the valley of death. And by the way, modern historians have absolutely excoriated the man as one of the worst military leaders in the history of ever. To be fair, however, in my personal opinion, we in the United States have claim to the worst military leader in the history of ever, with McClellan. All right, sorry about that. Pause for a second. Yes, General McClellan in the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln once said of McClellan that he snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, or which was a play on the famous expression, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. McClellan, who was in fact a Union general, was the Confederacy's secret weapon. The man was so bad, it was just incredible. And we also had Custer in that same war, again, so brilliantly bad. It's just you think to yourself, they must have worked at it. And of course, Brudenell, Lord Cardigan, was from the same generation. So it's entirely possible that whereas at the time of the Revolutionary War in the United States, when we had all of these brilliant men, not just in the United States, but in Europe as well, who were just head and shoulders intellectually above the rabble, just as the Renaissance artists were just brilliant, that somehow in the middle of the 19th century, we just got the dolts. So, interesting thought. All right, have a terrific day. Today is Monday. I am taking tomorrow off This will be my first day off in 2 months, and I have to spend it cutting grass. But like I say, the grass will not cut itself. Gotta be done. I'm sure Audie's going to be unhappy because he loves the filming. He was here, by the way. He wasn't in the film, but he was wandering around sniffing at the camera. So I will see you all on Wednesday. Have a terrific couple of days and enjoy your freedom from lockdown. Those of you who are not quite with us yet, we will be soon, and we're looking forward to it. See y'all later.